On today's episode, Austin and Tim travel back in time to May 4th, 1990 for a 7-movie marathon. Lou Diamond Phillips and the supernatural thriller First Power, the hip-hop comedy House Party featuring Kid and Play, a family sci-fi comedy called Space Invaders, the historical adventure drama Mountains of the Moon, then ending the evening with an unlikely drive-in triple feature featuring Sean Connery and Alec Baldwin in Tom Clancy's The Hunt for Red October, Dudley Moore and Daryl Hannah in the wacky comedy Crazy People, and a police thriller with Richard Gere and Andy Garcia, Internal Affairs. C. Submarine battles. C. Lou Diamond Phillips try to be a cop. C. Martin Lawrence pretended to be a high schooler. C. Green aliens who like to impersonate Jack Nicholson. C. Richard Gere with a crew cut. C. A spear go through a man's face. It's all coming up here on Film Geek Time Machine.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Film Geek Time Machine. I'm your host, Austin Kennedy.
Austin Kennedy, I don't like you anymore. I'm Tim Kaiser, by the way.
I didn't know what your name was. I know.
I'm Tim Kaiser.
Yay!
And we're no longer friends.
That makes me very sad.
No, it's only because of one of these movies. I'll like you. After we talk about that movie, I'll be back to liking you.
Yay! Okay.
But until then, boy, do I fucking hate you.
Well, what is Film Geek Time Machine? This is the podcast where we have a time machine, we go back in time, pick random dates, and have a movie marathon on the said date. So this date, we went May 4th, 1990. So I was 13, going to be 14, and you must have been 21.
I was 21, I was going to turn 22 later.
Yeah. So,
this is the second episode we've done when I was 21.
Yeah, we did 89.
Yeah, one of them was when I was drunk.
So, yeah, May 4th, 1990 is what we picked, and we picked 7 movies. We got 7 movies.
Yes.
That we got to see, because there's a triple feature at the drive-in again.
Yeah,
so that's what we did.
And this is another weird drive-in one. Where these movies aren't drive-in movies, but whatever.
Right. Well, before I tell you what movies we picked, let's go to the time period of 1990. Look at the number 1 song.
Oh my God, she just died.
So Sinead O'Connor,
killed her to make her relevant for this fucking podcast.
As when we recorded this,
it
is July 30th right now, 2023. Sinead O'Connor just passed away this past week, and looking back, nothing compares to you. Sinead O'Connor was number 1.
I have listened to that song recently purely because she passed away.
Yeah, but I'm actually a fan of her anyways. I like her music.
She's
like,
amazing.
She's really
also,
good.
bald chicks are the hottest chicks in the world.
Yeah, she's very pretty.
All bald women. Okay.
Michael Bolton, How Can We Be Lovers?
I Want to Be Rich by Calloway. You're skipping past.
That's right.
I Want to Be Rich by It's a Fucking.
I Want to Be Rich.
It's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome. It's an awesome, terrible song.
Madonna
I
Vogue.
love it.
Heart, All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You. All Around the World, Lisa Stansfield. I remember that one. You got some Janet Jackson. Without You, Motley Crue.
This is 1990. The 80s are still fully alive.
Yeah.
Wilson Phillips. 92.
Wilson Phillips, Hold On.
God, that is a great song.
Poison, Belle Biv DeVoe. Sorry.
That's why this is the 80s. The 80s are still around.
They're
we got
still
Adamant
around.
On the fucking charts for crying out loud.
MC Hammer, You Can't Touch This. This is even down
my
there.
God.
So. The Humpty Dance. The Humpty Dance.
Wait.
Yes.
Oh, that was number 2 last week.
Yeah.
It's on its decline.
The Humpty Dance is good. Black Velvet.
The Humpty Dance is amazing.
Yeah.
We literally listened to we watched a movie with that piece of shit in it. I mean, I'm sorry, with that awesome guy. A shitty movie with that awesome guy in it. We watched. He's in Let It Ride. You fucking.
Oh
turd.
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'll speak up. He's in Let It Ride, Austin. Remember that movie you
Phil
love?
Collins. Yeah, I do. Get Up Before the Night Is Over, Technotronic. Anyways, yeah, this is a good music. I think.
Oh yeah. This is. I was still target audience. I'm still in.
So let me
I'm
go.
not my teenager, but I'm still target audience.
I'll go to the actual TV Guide listings of what was on TV that day. I'm scrolling through the newspaper.
I'm glad you didn't set this up earlier or anything, Austin. Now you have to click through.
It's the funnies.
Let's read the comics.
Oh, that's the Family Circus.
There's the Lockhorns. Yeah. I think those are somehow still
Here
around.
we go. Okay, so in the morning, there's probably a lot of reruns. There's the Muppet Babies, Ghostbusters.
Oh yeah, those are the syndication things.
And then also they had the Disney lineup, so DuckTales, Rescue Rangers.
That was still at its peak.
Well, this is before I think even Darkwing Duck and
Darkwing Duck was probably the next year.
And then Tailspin as well. Yeah. Tailspin as well. Yep. The evening though, we have Small Talk. I don't remember that. Candid Camera, of course. Baghdad Cafe, Sugar and Spice.
This is bullshit 90s Candid Camera.
Yeah.
This isn't classic Candid Camera where people don't end up handicapped. Okay, they probably had to go edgy.
ABC looks like they have the prime lineup, though. They got Full House, Family Matters, Perfect Strangers, and Just the 10 of Us.
Is this a Friday?
This is Friday.
Yep, yeah. That's TGIF right there.
So, this one, Channel 11, I had to look these up.
What is that?
It's Mancuso FBI and Hardball. So, Mancuso FBI, I've never heard of this.
There's two Hardballs back to back.
Yeah.
Those are like a news radio
No,
thing.
it's not. Mancuso FBI is a crime show with Robert Loggia, or I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he's a great actor, and I've never heard of it. Now, Hardball...
I'm sure it had 14 episodes in it.
So I looked this up.
There's 20 episodes.
I looked this up before we got here. Hardball is a TV show, buddy cop TV show with John Ashton, who played the bald guy in Beverly Hills Cop. You know, he's not Judge Reinhold, but the other guy.
Yeah.
And then Richard Tyson, who was the bully in 3 O'Clock High. Look at this.
What?
We're looking at the picture right now.
Oh my God.
And it looks amazing.
The bully from 3 O'Clock High is my favorite human being in the world.
And he was the bad guy in Kindergarten Cop as well.
God, he's a perfect bad guy.
I love Richard Tyson.
I love
he's
3
awesome.
O'Clock High.
Yeah, I do too. I do too.
We may have to
just watch
There's
it.
a lot of people who haven't seen that one.
It's so good.
If we end up on there, we're gonna fucking
one
watch
of the
it.
best teen comedies of the 80s.
Sure. Nobody fucking knows.
No,
it failed so miserably.
It lasted a week in the theater.
The fact that we somehow both have seen it, and I guarantee I saw it in the theater.
Oh, I did not see it in the theater. I saw it right on video.
Austin Kennedy.
It failed. But that was awesome. I'm like, I want to see this show. Well, I'd watch it every week.
Well, how many episodes does it mention?
It's just it's one season. So
it's like at most 24.
Yeah.
Maybe 13.
Probably
depends.
12.
If this was in May, it could have been a late season replacement.
Yeah, I don't know.
It could be 6 episodes.
All right, so now we're actually going to go to the paper to see what was playing besides the ones we picked, because I'm going to let you know what else.
What you should do is back up 12 more things now that you've moved it.
That's right.
You suck, Austin.
This was a hard week because there was probably like 6 or 7 other movies that I wanted to pick besides
There were a
this.
lot. I mean, this is every time we go back, there's a shit of awesome
one of the major ones that I wanted to see was Cinema Paradiso. Remember, we were looking at Cinema Paradiso?
Yes.
Now, the reason why I've never seen it, and I've always wanted to have heard
it was on the list of potentials, and then we just couldn't watch it.
No, the reason why is because it was, at least for me, it was there's a director's cut out there. This is the cut down theatrical
movie.
This is the cut down version, so
Yeah.
it wasn't the original Italian version.
Yes.
And I heard that's the one to see, so I'm like, I want my first version to see the
And
actual
also,
one, so.
we do have this hard, fast rule
Yeah.
that the version of the movie we see has to be widely available to everybody else, and it isn't.
Oh, well, I didn't want to see it anyways.
We don't want to watch a version of the movie that other people can't see.
But I actually didn't want to see it anyways.
Because we're actually traveling through time.
Other stuff that came out, so there was Glory was still out in the theaters. There's a lot of some 89 holdovers.
I really would have thought Tales from the Dark Side of the movie was earlier in the 80s, but I guess it was 1990.
It started that day that we didn't go see it. I saw it maybe like a month later in the theater.
I may have seen it once.
I saw it as a sneak preview with Gremlins 2, The New Batch. So
because there was like a TV series that was after this.
It was before that.
Was it before
that?
It
was before
this. Like the movie it says on there. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. William Friedkin, the guy who did The Exorcist, his film The Guardian, which I heard is terrible. That came out. We didn't go see Ernest Goes to Jail, which I kind of would have said.
I would have been fine with it. He gets electrical powers, if I remember.
Yeah. And he's like, there's 2 of them in it.
Yeah, that's right. There's evil one. It's where you can actually find out that guy could actually kind of act.
Yeah, I don't remember hating that one. It was, Driving Miss Daisy was still out, Best Picture winner.
The perfect age.
It was.
You might hate it now. Okay?
I might. My Left Foot. I really wanted to see Lawrence Kasdan's I Love You to Death. I've never seen it, and that would have been a good one to see. Pretty Woman would have been cool.
We saw prestige films already.
We did.
We put some prestige films in there.
So I do want to talk about an ad of Pretty Woman here that I remember I showed you this. So
yeah, one of the people in this is in one of the movies today.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, look at that ad.
So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came out, and Pretty Woman and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were going back and forth in the box office. So Pretty Woman came out first. Ninja Turtles came out and beat it and it was number one in the hit. Well, this week Pretty Woman went back on top, and there is an ad that is pretty much putting it down, saying
we will attempt to put this in a link or something.
Yeah. I'll put it on there somewhere.
We'll find it.
But it says America's number one hit is putting the turtles back in their place, and they're standing on top of a sewer, and the turtles are talking about Julia Roberts' bodacious bod. She's some pizza work.
Well, you don't really see the turtles. It's just a manhole
and their
cover,
eyes,
and there's thought bubbles. They are not word balloons.
No.
As a comic nerd,
she can sit on my shell anytime. Oh my god.
I mean, wow. Julie Roberts was brand new at the time.
Yeah. She was.
She ended up made her a star. Fucking huge.
Yeah. So we didn't see Pretty Woman, though. Whatever. I've seen it before.
Yeah. I don't know if I've seen the whole thing through all
the other one. I actually wish I would have gotten. Well, Crybaby would have been cool because you've never seen that John Waters musical. And then the other one, I really wish that we would have been able to see Q&A, which is a Sidney Lumet film.
There's a bunch of ads for this in there.
Yeah.
This is brand new.
It's Nick Nolte, and spoiler alert, that movie is fucking awesome. Like Nick Nolte is.
Does he talk like a human?
He is. Phenomenal. You will hate him in that movie. He is a bad guy. No,
good,
he does a good job. He's a monster.
That's good.
He is awesome in it. He's
good.
so good.
Okay.
He plays the big racist cop. And
we kind of have one of those already in this episode.
Wild Orchid, Mickey Rourke. That's pretty much a softcore. All right, so what we did
Guardian,
pick.
That's right.
Yeah, we didn't pick it. So what we did pick, we picked 7 movies. The first one as soon as I mentioned this one, we're like, oh, we're watching it.
Because I think I had heard of this one.
Right, I've heard of it.
As a watchable bad movie. Okay?
Right. First Power, Lou Diamond Phillips.
The word movie is right? I'm confused. What do you mean?
Oh, what you said about being a bad movie.
I said
that's
watchable
laughable.
Bad movie.
And I said you're a third right.
It's a movie.
right. So, First Power, Lou Diamond Phillips, supernatural. It's kind of like a precursor to Fallen, the Denzel Washington movie. Because Fallen was like the guy died and then he's like possessing other people's bodies.
In some ways, it's sort of similar to what the hell? There's an alien one.
The Hidden.
Yeah, somewhat similar to that. But The Hidden's good.
Right. This second movie we picked was House Party, a movie that I've seen before, and you've never seen it.
I had never seen it.
And then Spaced Invaders, which I saw when I was a kid, and it's a kid's movie, family movie. This is the one. So then Mountains on the Moon, which was a movie that I heard of it, but I didn't know anything about.
I didn't know anything about this fucking movie.
And soon as Tim was like, hey, I want to pick, he just picked it because he wanted to pick a movie that neither of us have seen and knew nothing about. So
I do like to find movies that you haven't seen, which sometimes can be hard.
Yeah, it is
especially
hard.
1990 movies.
But Mountains on the Moon, didn't know much about it. So, and then the last 3 was a drive-in triple feature. One of them was a movie that we've both seen before.
I hadn't seen it since 1990.
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. The Hunt for Red October.
Yeah.
It was one of the biggest hits of 1990. The Crazy People with Dudley Moore and Daryl Hannah, and then
had you seen that one?
I've never seen it.
Okay.
And then Internal Affairs with Richard Gere and Andy Garcia.
Had you seen that one?
I've never seen that either.
Okay.
So
all right.
Yeah, I've seen Spaced Invaders, Hunt for Red October, and House Party before.
What had I seen? Hunt for Red October is it? I think.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
One of them, if I had seen it, I would have never watched movies again for the rest of my fucking life.
The First Power is our first movie, and it is a cop thriller with Lou Diamond Phillips. And boy, were they trying to push him after Young Guns.
Oh my God, he looks like he's 12. He's supposed to be a fucking movie in there. He's supposed to be a cop, and I'm like, why is that 12-year-old a cop? What the fuck?
He was 28.
God, he
or
does
27,
not
27.
He actively looks young, and also he's like tiny.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ, that little kid is a cop.
So, and it's written and directed by the same guy. So Robert Reznikoff. I've never heard this guy. I think this is the only movie that he directed.
I think so. We're on Wikipedia here.
Oh, he has
doesn't have a link.
He does not have a link. So yeah, this is a cop movie where he's tracking down this serial killer that's doing kind of cult killings. He finally finds him. Who's that guy that plays him? That's Jeff Kober. I've never heard of him before.
I thought I had seen him before.
He looks familiar. He's got one of those distinct faces.
Yeah,
but,
maybe that might just be he looks cool.
Yeah. Anyways, they he's trying to track him down.
He's a horrible criminal.
Yeah.
He wants to die.
Yeah.
But he needs to be put to death, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Okay. Yeah. So they finally catch him, and he gets put to death. And then
it's like a week later.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, not how that works.
No.
This is the 1880s.
He gets put to death. But then you find out that he's starting like the first power or something, and he's starting to like take over.
They say the first power.
But it's not. That's the third power. Like I don't know. They're talking about the first power, second power, third power.
He wants to use the first power. They don't tell you what the first power is till the end. And boy, is that anticlimactic. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, not at all.
Nothing in this fucking movie makes any fucking sense.
No, it doesn't. What happens is, so the killer starts killing again, but through different bodies. And that's what that reminded me of the Denzel Washington movie, Fallen.
He will possess people.
Yes. Like he possesses a nun at the time, and then a homeless lady, and then a...
But he's going to use the first power to resurrect himself, and I'm like, you're already immortal. You can possess anybody and get away with murder.
Right.
Why would you want an actual body that might go back to prison?
Right. So
You're stupid.
And then there's also, they have to throw in a love interest. There's a psychic that kind of the informant for Lou Diamond Phillips, and they get in, so she's always like trying to contact him, but of course they throw in a relationship, and the way they shoehorn that love interest was so fucking stupid.
It was terrible, and also
I hated it.
She doesn't make fucking sense.
No.
She has like premonition. At one point she has premonition where she sees Lou Diamond Phillips get murdered by the bad guy.
Yeah.
And in her own thing, in her own vision, she's there watching, and she says, watch out or something.
Yeah.
She goes there, she says, watch out. She changes nothing, and he somehow lives. And I'm like, that's what your premonition showed. You didn't change anything. What you should have done is not showed up. That's all. The only thing you need to do is change anything.
Right. So this movie was for most of the film, was really dumb and really boring.
It's really dumb, but there are some funny, stupid bullshit parts in this movie, though.
So for the first 2/3 of this movie, I'm like, I was bored, and it was pissing me off at how boring the movie was.
Okay.
The last third of the movie, when he possesses the homeless lady, and she starts acting all wacky and crazy.
She went full Deadite. Is what she was. She was like watching Ash fight a Deadite.
Yeah, and
Evil Dead 2 was happening.
She was like, and like sticking on her tongue, give me a kiss, back.
Yeah, because every other time when he possesses somebody,
no one was doing that.
Lou Diamond Phillips could see his face also.
Yeah.
And that was the only time he possessed somebody. He couldn't see her face because this crazy lady was good at acting like a fun crazy lady.
And I don't know why
you picked right, because she was insane.
Right? Was that her? Was that the director going like, "Man, this movie's turning out really boring. Let's do something crazy at the end." Like, what's going on?
In order? How do you not know this?
I know. But it was just so. Finally, but it was absolutely too little, too late. If the whole movie was ridiculous like that, I think I would have enjoyed the movie more.
There are certain, when he first starts possessing people, Lou is like chasing him, and then he jumps off of a roof, and it was pretty epic because the guy fell. I thought that was like the only time they edited it right, where it looked like the same guy fell. And then he just got up after falling like 20 stories and just ran off. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're not going to beat that guy. Just fucking give up. Okay?
It was kind of cool.
It was kind of cool. Up, you're going to lose.
It was kind of cool when the killer like held up that fan. It was like...
Oh, yeah. I don't know how he powered it.
That's
with magic. Okay?
That's the only thing I remember from the trailer. I remember that shot in the trailer.
Okay, that's in the trailer?
Only thing I remember.
That might have made me go see the movie, because that is pretty cool.
I think Lou Diamond Phillips is not good in this movie. He's terrible.
No.
He's not charismatic.
This is not his type of role.
Okay.
He actually is better as a bad guy, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, yeah, I think so, too. No. Oh, here we go. So I can't pronounce his name. I'm sorry. But Bubba from Forrest Gump.
Yeah?
Bubba Shrimp. He's in this movie. He's this partner.
Okay,
I can't pronounce his name.
I can't remember. Does he die? I can't remember what died for me.
Oh, yeah. He gets trampled by the horse.
Oh, God, that's right.
So it's Mikkel T. Williamson. I don't know how Mikkel or whatever.
Sure.
Anyways, when he showed up and he started talking to Lou Diamond Phillips, he's full of energy. And I'm like, oh, he's interesting. He's only in the movie for like 10 minutes. The thing is, cast that character as the lead. That would be an interesting movie.
That would make more sense.
Instead
or
of
as the bad guy.
Right.
He could be a likable bad guy. The bad guy in this has no likability.
No.
He's just mostly boring.
But if you would have casted a character like that as the lead instead of Lou Diamond Phillips being boring, I'm like, oh, I guess he has a cat, so he's human, I guess.
Yeah.
It was really bad. And then that romance pissed me off.
The romance in this.
Oh, I hated it.
We have one of the other ones is a cop movie with some bullshit romance stuff, too. Okay? But this one is like, the romance, I'm like, I actively didn't like her.
Yeah,
I think I had seen her in something else, and I'm like...
She wasn't good. No.
She just isn't good.
Tracy Griffith.
The reason she did not get a film career out of this is she's no good at movies.
Yeah, so it's a 1 for me.
Wow, that low.
Oh, I didn't...
I actively found it
wasn't
enough interesting that I'm going to go with 1.5.
But if the rest of the movie was as silly as it was in the last part when she's all like it was like Evil Dead stuff, that was fun, but it was only like the last 10-15 minutes of the movie.
If you sat around and you watched it with some friends and you weren't paying enough attention, you could enjoy it when the cool fun shit happened.
I disagree with the first hour.
But only because you wouldn't pay attention during the
for the first hour, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the first hour was really hard.
But when that crazy
to
lady shows up, you'll be enjoying the shit out of it.
Right. And but it was, to me, it was too little, too late. So I was disappointed.
I have in my notes, cool car stunt. I do not remember what that.
Oh yeah. So that's when the Deadite was like in the car with him, and then he he drove off and it like flew and like went up.
Oh, that's right. That was pretty epic.
No, it was all right. Next movie is House Party, and you've never seen this.
I had never seen House Party. I'm sorry to say, the target audience for numerous reasons.
So if you take a look up there, I have Kid and Play pop vinyls up there. So
I see that. I can tell because that hair is. Does Play have the?
Yeah. He's got the little.
That's really only telling thing.
Right. So House Party is a movie. It was directed by. I think it was their first movie, the Hudlin brothers. And Reginald Hudlin was the director.
They made like 5 of these.
Oh,
they just kept going.
They didn't. They only directed the first one.
Oh, really?
They didn't have anything to do with the other ones.
Oh, wow.
They wrote and directed this one. They went on to direct Boomerang with Eddie Murphy after this.
Oh, Boomerang's great.
Yeah. And then they directed The Ladies' Man with the SNL sketch with Tim Meadows.
What?
That's a funny movie.
I had forgotten they made a movie about that.
I think that's a pretty funny movie, actually.
I haven't seen that one.
It's pretty good. Will Ferrell's really funny.
That's how Stewart saves his family.
That was Harold Ramis directed that.
God damn it, I forgot. I keep forgetting they make those. That was in the 90s. They would just make anything.
Sketch. They didn't make Sprockets, though.
That's because they already had Mike Myers in one, and then he made his own. He got huge. He got even huger.
Right.
You didn't need them.
House Party is a high school comedy with Kid and Play. Kid and Play was a hip-hop act. This was actually written for DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, but they passed on it.
Oh.
Yeah, and so it went to Kid and Play.
Glad. Because I actively think these guys were probably more fun
yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Obviously, we all know Will Smith ended up being able to act. I have nothing. I have
and
no
being
idea
able to slap people.
I have no idea about Jazzy Jeff, whether he could even say.
Oh, he was on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air all the time.
Oh, was he?
As his friend. So he was. No, he's fun. No, he was a good actor. Yeah. It's essentially Play. They're like best friends, and Play is having a party because his parents are out of town.
Yes.
And so
you've seen that movie. You've seen this movie.
Oh yeah. And the whole thing is that kid's trying to get away because he gets in a fight at school. And so now his pops isn't going to let him.
His dad is the best part of the
Robin Harris is amazing.
He's so much.
And he died like a couple years later.
God,
but
quit telling me that shit.
Baby's Kids.
You make me sad. Because that guy was awesome.
Robin Harris is awesome in this movie.
He was hilarious.
He's a really funny comedian if you ever watch stuff. Anyways, Robin Harris plays his dad. And kid's trying to sneak out, and then the bullies are chasing them, and then they get to the party. There's some romances with some girls. I'm just doing an overview.
Because that's all you need for this movie.
And then there's white racist cops that they make fun of, which I thought
make fun of them?
It was pretty cool. I like the.
But the cops also kind of save him. Like I'm not It's a little mixy.
Yeah. Oh, and then George Clinton's in the movie.
That's right. He's in the credits.
2 tears in a bucket. Fuck it.
He's showing up. Oh yeah, there he is.
This is one of those movies. It's not supposed to change the world or anything, but I really like this movie. So it's spoiler alert. I like it a lot.
You were much closer to the target
audience. I was in 7th grade when it came out, and I wasn't really into hip hop. But for some reason, when I watched this movie, this was like my first introduction. You know, because I grew up in white suburbia. This is my chance. Like I never saw a Spike Lee movie or anything, so this was my first seeing like this black culture, and it was, and I found it fascinating. I thought it was cool. I thought it was funny. I liked the way they talked to each other. It was.
I couldn't tell whether or not what I would have felt if I had seen this back in '90.
So I thought it was neat back then, and I watched it again, and I think it's still fun. It's definitely a product of its time. So you have to view it as a product of its time because there's some gay jokes and stuff that wouldn't fly today. But
in actuality, they're good kids.
Yeah.
Well, okay, a kid is a real good kid. Because he could get laid, and then his rubber isn't very good, so he doesn't get laid.
Yeah.
Kind of gets picked on later because he didn't bone her. And I'm like, well, he's kind of what he should do. I probably would have boned her. I wasn't a perfect person. Okay.
Well, Play's kind of a jerk in the movie, Yeah, he's definitely.
But he isn't the jerk.
No.
There are the bullies who are literally 35-year-old guys who go to high school.
Well,
and I'm like, those bodybuilders go to high school?
So
those guys are fucking huge.
They were another hip-hop group called Full Force.
Okay.
So, now the thing is with this movie, this isn't supposed to be a realistic look at high school. There is a little bit.
It isn't like fantasy, though.
Well,
really?
no, it's not. But there is somewhat in the production design and just the way it's filmed. It has this kind of weird comic surrealness to the movie. Like, when they're and cartoony. Like, when he's getting in the fight, they show him, he holds him up, and he's, floating in the air, and they're punching him, and that's not what would happen in real life. It has this cartoony feel to... No, exactly. So... It has this cartoony feel.
I have a hard time reviewing this one because I literally was just watching it and I'm like,
I
didn't hate it.
I love it.
I also was like, I'm trying to mostly gauge how much I would have liked this if I had seen it.
I love the dialogue between everybody in the movie. Martin Lawrence is awesome in the movie. He plays the DJ he has dragon breath. He has bad breath and no one wants to talk to him.
And his wife from his
Trisha Campbell is
is one of the girls.
Is
the girl that kid does not bone.
Yeah. I really like that. One, I think too, the movie was trying to be instead of being another Boys in the Hood type movie, even though this was before Boys in the Hood. This isn't a gangster movie. This is a movie trying a positive film.
They're just kids. It's called House Party.
Yeah.
The actual House Party isn't really in very much of this movie.
No, not much.
They talk about it for a while. They're at the house
There's
party
some dancing.
and then they kind of leave the house party, and then he might get
I think the dance sequence when they do the dance is awesome.
Oh, yes.
And then their rap is really good, too. The rap-off.
I had seen that weird foot dance thing.
And then the rap-off, I think, is a lot of fun.
That must be in, all the other movies up there.
But, the highlight...
was iconic.
There's a couple highlights for me. One of them is Robin Harris as the dad is phenomenal. So, 9 days after the film was released, he died of a heart attack.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So
I hate you making me watch movies that make me sad, Austin.
But he is so funny. He kind of has this nasal tone in his voice, and he's like, I'm gonna whip you.
Oh God, I don't know if he improved some of that shit.
I'm sure it's all improv.
It was just funny as nonsense.
When he's looking for his boy, he's walking over to Play's house, and the cops stop him. That scene when the cops stop him is so funny. He's like, "It's fuck you,"
Yeah, it's like I actively think. He in this movie said, "I want to talk to these cops the way I want to be able to talk to cops and not get shot." Okay?
Yeah. It was
talk down to those cops real hard.
The other guy I think is really funny in this movie is John Witherspoon. He's also passed away maybe 10 years ago or so. But he was the dad in Friday. Well, he's the neighbor that wants to call up.
Yeah, well, he was older at least.
I love him in this movie. And it's just what you doing? You listening to that Public Enema? You listening to Public Enema? And he's like, oh, you look fine, girl. And he's like, I'm going to call the police. And it's just the way he talks just cracks me up. So there's just a lot of things that make me laugh in the film.
It's fun.
I love it. I think it's a really fun movie. And I think it's a positive look at black culture in the 90s.
Yeah, I think it is.
And it's really fun.
It doesn't.
And what's great, though, is that they don't, show there's not racism because they show the racist cops.
The only white people in it are those two cops.
Oh yeah. Well, no,
there's probably some people in the background.
In the beginning when they're in the principal's office and the principal lady is talking to him, and she's like, he called my mom a hoe. It's like, why would you call him a garden tool?
Oh God,
that was funny.
I remember seeing that, and I'm like, because I was
just making fun of white people. That's what it is.
I did not see that coming, and I thought it was pretty fucking funny. Okay, I'm like. Oh my God, she's so stupid. I'm like, I knew that, right? But in 1990, I'm a white guy. Did I know that? I probably knew that word, right?
It's kind of almost as I don't know if this is super accurate, but I kind of it's a hangout movie, kind of like how Dazed and Confused was a hangout movie. You're just hanging out with these characters, and that's kind of what this movie kind of is a little bit.
Yeah, there's barely a plot. The plot mostly is, here's two boys, two high school kids that here's their life for like a 24-hour
But just
period.
little things that happen, like even like people that aren't kid play, the people at the party when they look at a girl, the two guys look and they go scandalous at the same time, and it's just I don't know. There's the energy's bright and fun.
In some ways, it reminds me of that Sidney Poitier Cosby movie.
Yeah,
what the fuck is that?
For sure. Uptown Saturday Night.
Yeah, because that was a
black
culture movie, and it doesn't.
So, are you a fan
talk down?
Are you a fan of Friday? Have you seen Friday?
I'm sorry, I've never seen Friday.
So
I'm too white for your podcast.
No.
I don't know. I don't think I'm avoiding these movies.
No.
I've never seen them.
I didn't see Friday until a couple years ago. I just for some reason I just didn't get around to seeing it. I watched it and I liked it. This is my Friday. Where people are like, Friday is one of the best movies in the night. I like this better than Friday. This is my Friday. Not that Friday's a bad movie.
Hard for me to judge when I haven't seen one of the movies.
Not that Friday's a bad movie. It's just that. Oh yeah, George Clinton's scene is really good too. 2 tears in a bucket. Fuck it. I love that line. I can go on about this movie.
Here's the thing. I'm going to give this movie 3 stars.
It's 3.5.
I'm mostly
it's a high
thinking
3.5.
about it. That's probably how much I would have liked it back then.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I was mostly like, I had too much of an analytical, like, what would I think of in 1990 going on?
I also, because I talked about in past podcasts that I used to get posters from video stores. I had this poster, too, on my wall.
You had movie posters,
this was
Austin? Weird.
Yep, I had this in my room for a while. But yeah, it's good. 3.5 for me, high 3.5. I really.
Oh, wow.
It
high
really,
3.5. Okay.
I really like it. So
this is a...
childhood.
I can't pick on you like
but it's movies. A good one, too,
I gave 4 stars to Big Handful of Little Lady.
That's right.
Austin. It's the best movie ever.
And now the movie that Tim was going to hate me for, I guess, Space Invaders.
Okay, Austin, I've yelled during movies. Mm-hmm. I can't even make myself yell during this.
Okay.
It is a 0-star movie that I wish had never happened.
Yeah.
And after it was done, I'm like, I don't know if I can watch more movies. I don't like movies anymore. I think the fact that they added talking to movies in the late 1920s ruined this movie. This movie had maybe potential. Just get rid of every audio part of this movie. It's so fucking vile. I'm trying not to yell.
No. Well, let me talk about the plot. How about the premise of the film? Space Invaders.
I don't want to talk about this movie. It's so fucking terrible.
Space Invaders was a touchstone Disney brand movie that came out. I saw when it first came out.
This movie makes me cry.
No.
It's so.
I just thought you had something in your eye at the theater. I didn't realize that you were.
Yes, I could see this movie. That was in my eye, Austin.
You were watching this movie. I thought you got something caught in your throat.
I can talk about this movie.
Okay, so it's a movie. It's kind of like like a friendly killer clowns from outer space and Mars attacks, but not really. Space Invaders is a group of aliens from Mars. They crash land on Earth. Guess they want to kind of take over the world, or at least a couple of them do. But of course, they look like trick-or-treaters, so they get mistaken for trick-or-treaters and become friends.
They happen to land on Halloween.
Yeah, and they become friends with Aradia Richards, who ended up being the girl in Jurassic Park.
Yes.
Yeah. And
I don't like Jurassic Park anymore.
And who directed this? Patrick Reed Johnson. He directed another movie 5 years later called Angus.
Okay.
Aradia Richards.
Austin. I have a note. I went back in my notes and I put this in first. Note to Austin, okay?
Yeah.
Don't tell me any of the people in this movie, in future movies, I will hate that movie now, okay? So
Baby's Day Out?
So don't tell me anybody who had anything to do with this movie about any future films. No. I automatically hate that movie now.
So
this movie made me... It broke me, Austin.
That's crazy.
Broke me.
That's funny because there's also some weird other plots of the film where the girl's dad is a sheriff.
Sure.
And then there's
the
old man who's
speeding ticket in town.
Old man who's gonna lose his farm, played by Royal Dannell. Now Royal Dannell kind of played a similar role in Killer Clowns from Outer Space. He's in the very beginning of the movie and he gets killed. And he talks exactly the same.
He's the one in this movie that I wanted to not hate.
Oh, I actually
still
like
hated
him
I like because he was in this movie.
Okay.
So nothing else. This movie exists, Austin.
Right.
It has made the world a worst place. Place.
There's a lot of mistaken identity stuff, and then what happens is the girl ends up helping trying to get them to go back to their planet or to have their ship take off because their ship's broken. Now, there's also a subplot with there's a kid who talks with a speech impediment, the black kid who becomes friends with the girl.
That guy had a speech impediment? I couldn't tell because the aliens...
He talked like Thucker and Thuckatash. But
the aliens made me want to kill myself, okay? I couldn't fucking pay attention to anything.
The one that talked like Jack Nicholson.
They were all made... I wanted to kill myself right after killing all of them.
So here's my history with this movie. I saw it when it came out, I was like, this looks really stupid. My brother...
You were correct.
No, my brother and my dad saw it, and they said it was dumb. When it came out on video, I rented it from Speedy Video, and I didn't like it. I thought it was a bad movie.
Did you see this a second time, you fucking
This is my second time seeing it now. And I haven't seen it since 1990.
Austin, don't say it. Don't like this movie.
I didn't like it.
You fucking are not allowed to like this movie.
I almost liked it. I didn't, though. And I'll tell you why.
Liking this movie is like saying... Hitler wasn't all bad, okay?
So
that's your No! I can't help it now. I'm yelling. Fuck you for not hating this movie enough.
I didn't hate it.
This movie's the worst. This movie's pure evil. I don't like movies anymore. I had to watch a movie after this, and I'm like, I don't like movies anymore. There's no fucking way I'm gonna like this next movie.
4 movies after this.
I don't know if I can. I don't like movies anymore. Okay.
I hope you'll let me talk a little bit about it.
I was like, I'm not going to yell. I can't yell. You made me yell, Austin.
This movie's stupid. Duh. Right? Of course. It's dumb. It's a dumb movie. It's an understatement.
That's not a bad enough word.
It's stupid. And when it opens, this is what I'll say about this as a filmmaker. The beginning when it opens with on the planet and the spaceships, I love the practical effects.
There are things in this that actually look really good.
Yeah.
I actually think the aliens look fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's just that the moment they started talking, I was like never more annoyed. And then there are humans who just look like humans. And I'm like, why is that guy so fucking annoying? Who made this movie? Why is everybody so fucking annoying?
It's like, so this is what I think the acting is like. It's like a Nickelodeon show. That's how they're acting. They act all cartoony and weird and over the top.
I understand.
And that's kind of what they're doing.
Cartoons can do that, right? I'll have
not a Nickelodeon cartoon. I'm talking their live action shows, like the Nickelodeon live action shows.
Fuck Nickelodeon live action shows, Austin. Okay.
But I really thought Royal Dano was hilarious as the old man. Like every time he talked, I thought he was funny. Because I saw him on Killer Clowns, and I'm like, okay, he's doing that B-movie thing, where he kind of talks like this, and all tarnation, and that cracked me up. I think...
I'll never see this movie again, Austin.
Yeah.
So I have no idea whether or not I'll ever agree with you.
And the space...
Because I will never agree with you. Ever.
And I thought the spaceship stuff was cool, and I really... You know what else I liked?
There's weird miniature shit that was like... Boy, there are movies where I would find that amusing.
No.
And it's still, I just hate this fucking movie. Okay?
Like,
I just
the time it took to make that shot where they're going across the landscape and it's the car going, that's obviously a model. That would look cool.
It looked cool.
And
mostly because they didn't try to make you think it wasn't a miniature.
Right.
And I'm like, that would be cool. If this movie didn't make me want to gouge my eyes out, pull my ears off my head, and then bash my face into the fucking ground.
The other thing, I liked the practical effects of the robot. I thought that looked really cool too.
I forgot about the robot.
The robot that she befriends.
No, I know. Oh, and that's right, that one.
I thought that looked cool.
There are numerous times where they act like it's going to start moving, and I'm like, it didn't move this time.
Yeah.
They never.
I thought it was really cool. So yeah, the aliens are.
God. There's a version of this movie that I like.
Yeah,
this is the opposite of that movie.
And I did like the relationship between the girl and her friend, the guy, the boy, the little boy.
Okay,
I thought they were fun.
Here's the thing I want to know.
Yeah.
Did George Lucas see this movie, and then in episode 1, he made those
he
made those trade aliens who move their mouths?
Oh, yeah.
And they don't move anything like what they're fucking saying. Okay?
Right.
I'm like, what the fuck? Muppets can do it. Why can't you fucking morons do it?
For some reason, when I watched it the first time, I'm like, this is so stupid. And this time I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is stupid, but I'm laughing at how stupid it is. That's what I was doing at it. I wasn't saying this is a great movie.
I have to try to find laughter
in
the fact that I somehow made it through, and I'm still alive.
And
I didn't kill myself.
The only reason
I wanted to.
The only reason why I'm not giving it a 3. The reason I'm not giving it a 3 is because it's an hour and 40 minutes. It overstays.
Is it because it's an hour and 39 minutes too long? Is that the problem?
I feel like if this was a 75-minute movie, I would have enjoyed it more, but it just drags on a little bit too long for what this movie is. Is this just a dumb, stupid movie, and I think I could enjoy it like that, and Tim's going to punch me.
Don't like movies anymore, Austin.
Oh, we didn't even talk about the guy that like turns into like a robot dude and he starts talking like a Zorro. That was
the guy dressed like Zorro.
His physical comedy was funny. Some of the physical comedy stuff he did was good.
I guess I was already at the point where I can't believe I have to watch the rest of this movie. And in any other instance, I would just fucking walk out. And I'm like, I can't believe we have this fucking podcast at Austin, this fucking time machine. Why did you have a fucking time machine? Why are we using it to travel to movies like this?
Invaders.
Movies like this.
We could have done Ninja Turtles instead.
We use plutonium. We have a limited amount of plutonium. We use part of it to go back and see this fucking movie.
So it's 0 stars.
I failed.
0 stars.
I failed. I yelled.
0 stars.
I didn't. Yes, 0.
2.5.
You still gave it 3 stars too many.
Yeah, 2.5. Space Invaders. Well, see if we can get to the next 4 movies here.
Okay. Let's talk about another movie.
Mountains of the Moon.
Hated it because I hate movies now.
Mountains of the Moon. Okay, this is the one we didn't know anything about.
No, I didn't know shit about this.
No. So this is directed by Bob Rafelson. Bob Rafelson got his start. His first movie he directed was Head, the Monkeys movie, in 1968.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Boy, that's the opposite of this movie.
Right. And then he directed
a
lot of character dramas in the 70s. He directed 5 Easy Pieces with Jack Nicholson. He's actually made a lot of movies with Jack Nicholson, like 6 or 7 movies.
Okay, I was kidding. I don't hate this movie, actually.
Okay. So this
I hated the first 20 minutes because I had just watched.
Oh, right.
I'm like, I can't believe I still have vision. I didn't take my eyes out of my head. I expected to.
So this is a biographical film about, and I didn't really know anything about the history of this. I'm not much of a history person.
No.
But it's about the 2 guys that find the source of the Nile River in Africa.
They're looking for it. Spoiler alert, in this movie, they find it, but they don't really know they have found it.
It's not till the end where it says,
they tell us that they found it. I think they're both dead by the time that they have been verified to have found it.
So it's Richard Burton and John Speake. And there's the guys. And then John Patrick Burton plays Richard Burton, and then Ian Glenn plays Speake.
I just was wondering if Richard Burton had ever played Richard Burton in a Richard Burton.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, this is a biographical film, and it really just follows them where it shows Speake coming and meeting Burton, and then they kind of don't.
There was a crazy action sequence
in the beginning.
I'm like, this movie is like some crazy action movie? Not really. That's the only one in the whole movie.
Yeah.
It's actually really well done.
It's a really well crafted action scene.
Yeah,
yes.
I'm like, oh my god, this movie is different than I expected.
Right. Well, the action scene was like,
and then it ended up being basically what I expected.
Well, it's like another tribe comes and they start like killing everybody in the expedition. The moment when a spear or whatever goes right through the mouth or face of Patrick Burton, it was like, holy shit!
Richard Burton's face, and it goes right through him. Yeah. They did a good job. You see it for maybe a third of a second.
Yeah.
But it's ingrained in your fucking head.
It was well done.
Because you're also, but I'm also like, I'm pretty sure the thing in my head looks better than the one that actually happened.
Right.
Because that's why it's short, because it was a rubber head they stuck a spear in.
So then after that, then they go on anroy expedition together, and Delroy Lindo is in there.
There's a long period of time where they're back in England.
Yeah.
And they're just like talking, and they're getting funding for another trip and stuff like that.
Richard Burton meets Isabel, played by Fiona Shaw, who's, you've seen her, she was... Mrs. Dursley in Harry Potter.
She's in tons of shit.
You can see her naked in this movie.
Yeah,
actually.
And I'm like, is Dursley hot? Fucking hot.
No, I thought she was pretty good in the movie. Most of the acting's pretty good. I wasn't actually a big fan of Ian Glenn as Speake in the movie, so
he is the weakest one.
I didn't like him in the movie. but I like Patrick Bergin.
Patrick Bergin is really good.
No, I know him because he was the abusive husband in Sleeping with the Enemy, the Julie Roberts movie.
Is he? Okay.
Him. He was also in the made-for-television.
See, Austin, remember the last movie? I actively told you, don't tell me about all the movies people are in. You're allowed to do it
with this one.
Okay.
Well,
I don't automatically hate them because of all the movies.
Patrick Bergin played Robin Hood in the it was a Fox TV movie that with Uma Thurman as Maid Marian in 1991, the same year that Prince of Thieves came out.
I remember they came out like 2 weeks apart or something.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks before Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, it was really.
And I think it was supposed to come out here theatrically, and it might have been because of that. It was released theatrically in England.
They didn't have that theme song, so they couldn't fucking compete. Okay.
So, Mountains of the Moon.
Apparently, you got to look up your supposed.
So
notes.
for the rest of the synopsis, you go ahead, because I couldn't tell what the fuck was happening in this movie.
Really?
Yep.
This is your failed attempt at anger.
I know. I'm not good at screaming.
I'm going to scream now, but just like him. You suck at it, Austin. Okay. Okay. Well, here's the weird thing. Okay?
You like this movie, I'm sure.
I actually kind of like
No,
this
I
movie.
hated it.
Mostly because when they said, oh, they're going to find this horse in an aisle, I'm going to do that stuff. I think part of it is, after it was done, I looked up stuff, and I'm like, oh, now we understand kind of what happened. Because
I didn't understand anything. I didn't look anything up after either.
Although I did, okay, it isn't amazing. It has problems, because they do get their funding for the second trip.
Yeah.
And like the whole second half of the movie is the second trip.
Yeah.
And it does. It jumps around way too fucking much.
I couldn't tell what was happening.
What? They're like traveling. You have no clear idea
now
where
he's in
on
a
the
tribe,
Nile.
then Speak leaves, but then he comes back, and then he's like, what
That
the
shit with the tribe was fucking awesome. Okay? I loved the stuff where they found the tribe, which lives near Lake Victoria, which is the source of the Nile.
I feel like every scene by itself is good, but the way it was stitched together, this is the problem that I'm gonna call with this movie. There's another movie that was previously on this season.
Okay.
I'm gonna call this has the Plenty problem.
Oh, this is 100 times better than Plenty. Just because Plenty is unwatchable.
I think I felt like this. So it's a really well-looking movie, really great-looking movie, and decently acted, except for Ian Glenn. But I couldn't tell what the hell was happening in the movie, and I was so disengaged. I never bought their friendship. They never got their relationship. And then when they had their feud, and then I'm like, they weren't friends anyway, so why the fuck do I care?
That's one of the problems with the movie.
Yeah.
In real life, they went on that trip, and they actively, just a few weeks in, didn't like each other very much.
Yeah.
And I think they were considering making that happen, and then they kind of just didn't until they had already come back from the trip.
I couldn't tell what was going on.
Let's see. When they're at the tribe that lives near the source, okay? Yeah. Some of that stuff was amazing. He gave that gun to the king of the tribe.
Oh, when he shot that lady.
Well, first he shoots the gun to the ground.
Yeah.
And they've seen just how dangerous guns are, and the king is holding it, and that guy who played him was awesome.
He just shoots the...
Well, he just also holds the gun like you've legitimately never even seen or heard of a gun before.
Right.
And he just like holds it. Just holding it in his hand, he thinks that just holding it makes it cool. Okay? And then he eventually like figures out this is the way you hold it, and he's just pointing it around, and he just randomly shoots a lady.
Yeah. Bam!
And I'm like, and he gets, I think, a full boner for having murdered somebody because he's the fucking king, and now he has a super weapon. Okay?
Yeah.
And no, that whole scene is amazing.
Right.
Actually, I kind of weirdly think that when the movie gets to there, which, yes, is like an hour and a half into the movie.
Yeah, it was an hour and a half.
It took a while.
I was already disengaged with the film because I didn't care about it.
I fully understand because I have done that where if I'm disengaged, it doesn't matter how good it got.
No,
I already
don't
hated
care.
It. Okay?
I don't care.
But I had not fully disengaged.
Yeah.
I was trying because I didn't have any idea what this movie was.
Yeah.
And as it was going, I'm like, oh, I'm interested.
Yeah.
And then it kind of was like, oh, no, they're stuck in England for a really fucking long time. Then they go on the trip, and I'm like, oh, good, now they're back on the trip. This trip doesn't make fucking sense. They're all over the place. But once they finally get to that place, and then Speck actively figures out, he goes there, and he sees Lake Victoria, the actual source of the Nile.
Yeah.
Burton is like, did you walk around the lake to verify? And he goes, no. I was like, it's really fucking big, okay? It's like, well, you can't fucking verify anything without doing that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. In real life, Richard Burton almost certainly said that. She's like, no, you gotta do the work, asshole.
Yeah.
You gotta actually do it. Because in this, Richard Burton is fucking fully crippled. like 8 times in this movie. Same thing with Speck. He gets like a thing in his ear, and he like pulls it out.
That's crazy.
And I'm like, what the? It has the whole problem where I'm like, I don't understand what the fuck that thing in his ear is.
So
they don't explain shit, and I fully understand that can make you go like, ugh.
Well, because like in the first 10 minutes of the movie, they haven't established the characters yet, and then this action scene happens. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? I have no idea. Nothing's really been established about who anybody is. And what the relationship
was cool, so I'm like,
okay,
it was
cool.
I'm gonna watch. Maybe they're gonna explain shit later. They don't kind of sort of do, maybe. Not really.
No, and then the last like 20 minutes, I just didn't care about anything.
They do comment on his scars a lot, and I'm like, I don't see any fucking scars. He has maybe the mildest scars. Having a spear go through his head.
At the very end of the movie, that one guy and him are like comparing scars like in a Jaws, and I
thought that was cool. Because those are real fucking people.
I liked it in Jaws.
Those people, but in Jaws, do you understand in Jaws that wasn't a real thing?
I know, I understand that.
This was actual people who had gone on fucking excursions, and had learned to respect Africa.
So Bob Rafelson he's a good craftsman. He's a good filmmaker. My problem is the screenplay. That's my sole problem with the movie.
Here's the thing.
Because
I think this is
just the structure of it, not necessarily the dialogue.
I think it's a longer movie that was cut down. Because I think if you make this movie, I think the irritating
thing is, this was a good miniseries.
It has to be a fucking like hour longer.
If this was a miniseries, this probably would have been good.
Yeah.
I think. But it was as a movie. It just I felt like there was missing reels all the time. And then there's some times where I feel like you could switch this part from 45 minutes into the movie with something in 75 minutes in the movie, and you wouldn't tell the difference. Like,
no, you're correct.
And that's the thing. That's my problem.
Everything you're saying is completely correct. Yeah. I'm actually giving this movie 3 stars.
Right. I'm giving it a 1.
See?
Yeah. I did not like it at all.
It makes perfect sense to me. This movie, I could have hated this movie, but I think it's just that I had watched the most horrible thing in my life, and I'm like, the fact that I'm like, you know something? I don't care if this movie's fucking the second worst movie in the world.
Yeah.
It's closer to the best movie in the world than the last one.
I will say this: the opening and closing credits, the music by Michael Small is very good.
Yeah, actually, I think it may very well be the rest of the movies in this. Like opening credits, music is amazing in most of these movies.
Oh, well, speaking of music, the next movie, The Hunt for Red October.
Yeah,
we're at the drive-in now.
You got a weird look on your face. You don't hate Hunt for Red October, do you?
The music is fucking... Basil Podor's score is so fucking good.
Oh, okay, good.
That's what we're talking about, music.
You got a weird look on your face, and I'm like, you're not about to rip on Hunt for Red October, are you? I mean, it's not... I mean, I'm not going to give it 4 stars or anything. I don't think you're going to start. It was a 1-star movie.
1 star. 0 stars for The Hunt for Red October. No, so this was... So I saw this... You saw this in the theater, didn't you?
I think that was the only other time I had seen it.
I saw it in the theater.
I remember liking it in the theater.
Yeah.
I don't think I actually liked it as much this time.
Okay.
Because remember, I thought I liked it a lot in the theater, and I'm like, it's a good movie. I don't think it was the best movie in the world.
So, The Hunt for October, it's based on Tom Clancy's novel, and it's the first of the Jack Ryan movies for Paramount, which
that's one of the weird things I want to talk about.
Alec
this
Baldwin.
is the fact of Jack Ryan. Mm-hmm. This is the first Jack Ryan movie.
Yeah.
But Jack Ryan is different in every time they recast Jack Ryan. Mm-hmm. Because, this actually takes place in 1984.
Yeah, it does.
Okay?
Yeah.
And then the next Jack Ryan movie has Harrison Ford, which takes place, I think, modern, like 1994. And I'm like, well, first of all, Alec Baldwin isn't old enough to play an only 10 years younger version of Harrison Ford character. Okay?
Probably not.
But I'm like, I think there's different universes altogether anyway. Okay?
Yeah, I feel like I
think every time they recast him, it's like,
it's a different thing.
It's a James Bond situation. It's fucking basically reboot the thing.
Pretty much.
Maybe mild references to the other
Speaking of
movies.
James Bond, Sean Connery's in it.
Yes, he is.
So Sean Connery...
He's really good.
Oh, yeah, Sean Connery's great. Sean Connery plays a Russian captain who, spoiler alert, wants to defect. Well, you find out early on, but...
You do, actually, but I remember watching it, I'm like...
Is he going to defect?
I think originally I didn't. This time I could remember. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right, he defects. I'm like, when do we find out? Here's the whole thing. A lot of the stuff I knew, but I'm like, I remembered the zoom in on the mouth. But now they're going to speak English. And I'm like, oh, there's actually much more of this where there's Russian subtitles than I expected. I thought those would happen like the first time we saw him.
Right. So he is in this submarine called the Red October, and it's like a new nuclear sub that has a capability of what they say in the movie.
Caterpillar drive.
Yeah. And what they say is they can go undetected, and they can bomb all of New York and Washington and no one will know until impact. It's pretty much what it is.
They will be right off the coast.
Yes.
And that's why he's going to defect. He's like, I have to take this weapon that's going to end the world.
Right.
I'm gonna defect
so he's going to defect. And what's interesting is that...
only his, like, the inner circle of people on
there's like
the
8 people that are defecting with him.
Yeah.
And everyone else doesn't know. And he tells everyone, we're going to go and we're going to bomb New York and everything like that.
We're going rogue the other direction.
Right.
Okay.
And so what happens is they find out, like the U.S. finds out that, there's this submarine out. What's this all about? And then they find out from the Russian ambassador, played by Joss Ackland, who, again, he was in Three Musketeers, but he was Michael York's dad very briefly. But he's the bad guy in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Oh, yeah. Cause
Joss Ackland's awesome.
He's just awesome.
But anyways, he tells him, he's like, he stole this boat and, go and take him out or whatever. They pretty much eventually tell him to take out the Russian sub. And Alec Baldwin is the only one in the room that's like, you know what? And he's an analyst, not a field guy.
Yeah.
And Alec Baldwin, who plays Jack Ryan, is like, you know what? I think he's trying to defect.
I think I met him once.
Yep, I met him once, and he wasn't an asshole.
His wife died literally a year ago today.
Yeah.
Okay, and stuff like that.
He's just like, I think...
And here's the thing, though. Yeah. When he was saying that stuff, and I'm like, a year ago today, I think that's equally viable that he's going rogue and wants to end the world. Okay?
Exactly.
So I'm like, I don't understand this argument.
And he even said at one point, he's like, it's 50-50. It's like,
Well, I think in that 50-50 flip, then you make sure the bad one doesn't happen instead of like, let's give them all the opportunities to kill us.
Right. So then eventually Alec Baldwin gets helicoptered to another sub, the Dallas, and that's commanded by Scott Glenn, who I love.
They contact them. There's a lot of amazing scenes in this.
Yeah.
And it's weird because I know Alec Baldwin is good. He's kind of okay in this.
Oh, I like him in this. I think he's good.
He's outshadowed by literally everybody else. He has fucking Sean Connery and James Earl Jones to go up against.
Earl Jones. Tim Curry's in it.
Yeah, which
Sam
I
Neill.
Seeing him, and I'm like,
Sam Neill's in the movie.
Yes, this is not a movie that I would expect
Jeffrey Jones.
Tim Curry to be in. You know what I mean?
Stellan Skarsgård plays the other Russian guy going after Sean Connery, the other Russian sub.
Oh yeah.
Stellan Skarsgård.
This movie is really good.
Yeah. It's so this is directed by John McTiernan, and he directed Die Hard and Predator.
Yeah, that's why it's like directed good.
Right.
Okay.
And so
there's a shot in this near the end when they're on the Red October.
Yeah.
They get on there. Alec Baldwin. I'm like, it's like I don't know his character's name. He's Jack Ryan. We all fucking know who Jack Ryan.
Alec Baldwin.
Okay. But he's like gonna go. There's a guy who's still on the ship that they didn't realize was on there, and he's gone like rogue, and he's trying to shoot them. And then they have this awesome shot where he's like next to all the nukes.
Yeah.
That shot where he has the gun, and I'm like, fuck,
great
goosebumps shot.
Yeah,
that shot is.
It is really good.
Because Connery has just said, be careful where you shoot.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
There's stuff on here that don't like bullets.
Right. I thought that was really cool.
And then the bad guy's just shooting at him and goes, I'm supposed to look where I'm looking.
Right. Yeah, so it ends up with a confrontation of, they find out Connery isn't doing it, but there's like a lot of cat and mouse of like the subs finding each other and torpedoes, and that's kind of cool. It's a good sub movie. So when I saw this, it's weird because I kind of had the opposite reaction that you did. When I saw it in the theater, I gave it a 2.5 when I was 13 or 14. Okay. I thought it was okay. I really wasn't into political stuff.
Oh,
I mean, there's some action in it.
Teenager. I'm old now. I'm like, this is probably... that's the weird thing.
Right.
I expected I would like this movie more.
Yeah.
I remember super
There was some action in the movie, but the thing I think... Now, at the time, when I saw this movie, I wanted to see rated R movies. I wanted to go see Van Damme and Arnold Schwarzenegger and Stallone R-rated action movies.
Was this rated R?
This is PG.
Okay.
And
there's like no cursing.
No.
I think when people get shot,
it's
they're
not
they
too
mostly
much blood.
Just sit down and get sad.
And coming from the director of Predator and Die Hard, I always thought when I watched it first time that it was watered down. I have watched this before this. I watched it 2 other times, maybe once in '95, and then maybe once again like in the early 2000s. Okay. I still gave it a 2.5 each time. Okay. And I'm like, I really want to like this movie.
But now it's been 20 years.
I like it now. Okay. This is the first time I finally liked it. I'm giving it a strong 3.
I'm giving it a 3 too.
And
I'm pretty sure I gave this movie like 3.5.
Right. Yeah.
I honestly am not sure why.
Yeah.
I liked it because I remember thinking this movie was the fucking bee's knees. What an awesome movie.
It's a great
It's
thriller.
A good movie.
And yeah, McTiernan's direction is terrific. Normally in movies, I kind of get mad. Yeah, it was 1990 Hollywood, so it wasn't normal at this time to like let's have a whole movie in Russian, So I was just like, at the time I remember it being a cop out, and I'm like, they had changed to English. But the way John McTiernan does it,
you are such a filmmaking dirk.
Yeah,
I was happy to not have to read shit. Okay?
Well, I don't mind subtitles, but
I actually don't mind them either. But I'm also like, I mostly remembered it seeing it in the theater and like, oh, that was cool.
No, so the way they do it, you just briefly mentioned it, but so when they're talking to each other, Sean Connery and the guy are talking in Russian. He's quoting something. The other guy is like quoting something from a book or something, right?
He's quoting an English thing.
Yeah. The camera in one shot goes in, closes in on him, goes right to his mouth, and then he says one sentence in Russian, and then boom, the next sentence in English, and it pulls back, and now they're talking in English. That was really cool.
It was cool. I actually found it a weird thing that they decided to do it when he was quoting an English thing. Because then the first time you hear him speak English, you're just like, oh, he's quoting an English thing. So of course he's speaking English.
Yeah.
Then he keeps speaking English. I can understand some people are going like, what just happened?
It was really cool, and it was a really cool directorial choice, I think.
Yeah,
because I thought that was really
it's
clever.
cool.
It was clever.
Because it's a PG movie.
Yeah,
he's making this so that 14-year-olds can go and see it.
Yeah,
and then no fucking 14-year-olds in 1990 gonna watch subtitles. Now 14-year-olds are gonna get all like edgy about their manga and their anime, and they're like, "It's got to be fucking subtitled, man. It's got to be fucking subtitled."
That's right.
Fuck this dubbing bullshit.
No, but everything combined with the great character actors in the movie and Basil Podorce's awesome score with the chorus, the Russian choruses and stuff. It's so good.
The opening credits when the music was going, I'm like, fuck, this is this movie. That thing gets you like already into this fucking movie.
Yeah, it's really cool. The worst thing in the movie is pretty much just the final scene, and that's mainly because of the really bad green screen when they're...
Oh, yeah. It's terrible.
It's really bad.
He's, like, talking with Connery, and they're, like, on a beach, and I'm like...
Well, they're not on a beach. They're
beach? No, a quote-unquote green screen?
They're on the sub.
Yeah,
at night. They're on the sub at night.
It's like a sunset in the background or some bullshit.
But
it's real hideous.
But for the rest of the movie, there isn't really a bad green screen thing like that. So it kind of is out of character for the film.
Well, whenever they do like underwater shots, it's early CG, but also
some of it isn't terrible.
Super dark, so you can't tell whether it's good or not.
It's not that bad.
But then they shoot some fucking torpedoes later on, and I'm like, that looks fucking terrible.
Yeah. Some of it doesn't hold up.
Awful. And I know for a fact other submarine movies have shown that, and it hasn't been terrible.
But because the story is so strong and everything else is so strong,
it doesn't make it.
It doesn't ruin the movie. It doesn't ruin the movie.
I have seen people pick on the end of Terminator because it gets all stop motion.
Oh, it's so good.
That's the best part.
It's already
because it looks like 1984.
I
saw some stupid punk ass kids say, "What did this use CG?" And I'm like, because it was 1984, you moron. Okay, that's why computers hadn't been invented yet.
So that was the Hunt for October. I'm glad I got to see it.
We both gave it 3, I think, right?
And I'm so glad that I got a chance to watch it because I'm like, I've seen it before, but I'm like, I knew I would eventually, for some reason, deep down, I've always known that I was going to like the movie because I've always going back to revisit. I'm like, one of these days I'm going to like it, and I finally did. So I'm glad I did. Next movie is Crazy People.
Okay, I for some reason think there might be a disagreement in this one.
Oh no! Hello. Sorry.
I don't know.
Hello.
Are you saying that because you like that guy? Or because you hated him?
David Paymer.
Because I fucking loved him.
Oh, no! No! No!
All the fucking ads in this are hilarious. Every fucking one.
That's it. The end.
I don't give a shit. That's all you need. Because they are... I missed half the movie laughing at the ads. Okay?
That's the end. Okay. So
although I'm going to agree, once again, I'm going to agree with all the bad shit you say, and I'm going to give this a high mark.
Dudley Moore.
What's going to happen?
All right, Dudley Moore, Daryl Hannah. So Dudley Moore, this was one of his last films as a leading man.
Yeah.
Why is that? He died 10 years later. I think he got ill.
Okay.
I think so. But he was 55 in this movie, and Daryl Hannah was 29.
That was weird. But also, I'm like, I guess the only explanation they give it is she's nuts, and I'm like,
she was not nuts.
Can you give me a? She's somehow simultaneously the most crazy and least crazy person in that asylum.
I think she's the most normal person in this entire podcast.
But she's the only one. But she's the only one who's there and actively has like some type of problem that she has to stay there because the other people are like, oh, I'm a crazy person, but I'm going to live in a hotel now. Okay.
Let's talk about the plot. Here we go.
I hate this movie. I should hate this movie, but Jesus Christ, there were parts of this that I may have missed the next 10 minutes.
Oh,
no.
no.
I couldn't stop laughing.
So Dudley Moore plays an advertising guy, and Paul Reiser's kind of like his partner or head up or whatever guy. And J.T. Walsh, I'm actually a big fan of J.T. Walsh. He's always a bad guy. He's the jerk general in Sergeant Major Dickerson and Good Morning Vietnam.
Yeah.
Yeah, he plays the bad guy in this movie. Oh, yeah.
Typecast as fuck.
And so Dudley Moore he's sick and tired of everything. He's tired, like his marriage went kaput, his girl left him or whatever, and now he's like, I'm going to do honest ads. So he writes these ads. What happens, and we'll talk about the ads individually.
Mostly he's having a break.
He's having, breakdown.
You don't know why, and then he found out his wife left him.
Yeah.
And you see his house, and it's just fucking empty because she took everything except for the actual house. Okay?
So he gets fired from his job, and what happens is, you know what? Oh, no, actually, he doesn't get fired yet because Paul Reiser's like, you know what? We can't do any of this stuff. I'm not going to send it in. I'm going to put you into an insane asylum, and you're going to go there for a few weeks, and everything will be fine. Well, by accident, someone took the ads from the desk and printed them in the paper, and now J.T. Walsh sees it, fires him. He's like, you're fired. But then it backfires, and people love the advertising, and they love it. And so now they want him to continue advertising, but he doesn't want to leave the place. He has become friends with all of the crazy people in the nut house, trying so hard to be like Cuckoo's Nest. So hard. Trying to capture that kind of...
Not like dark in any way.
No. But trying to be like, oh, we got this crazy person over here and this person. And then
I now understand why I hate this movie.
And then Daryl Hannah...
You're comparing with much better movies.
Yeah.
Stop doing that. Only compare it with terrible movies.
I
do. There's the third movie that we fucking watched. All movies are amazing now, okay?
Daryl Hannah, like you said, she's in there, but she's like...
It makes no sense. She immediately hits on him, and I'm like...
And she immediately is like, I love you.
Can you at least make a backstory where she does this to every new patient?
They kind of mentioned it a little bit, very briefly. Mercedes Rule mentioned it a little bit.
Yeah.
But no.
They needed to fix that, and
so
they do not
immediately they're in love, but there's no chemistry between the two actors.
No.
Whatsoever.
Other than the fact that he is probably got a boner all the time.
Whatsoever. Yeah. And so, but then, J.T. Walsh is like, okay, well, these crazy people have to come up with the stuff too. So they're coming up with the things, and he gets them involved. And then something goes wrong, but then they go, I don't know. It's such a contrived plot. I'm with you. The best thing in this movie are the ads.
Oh, God. The first one.
Okay, let's
read a few.
I
have a few of them. He has one where it's for our cars. Volvo.
The boxy one.
No,
right?
No. It's the hand job one.
Well, first let's do
it's a car for guys who like hand jobs
Jaguar.
to beautiful women who are strangers.
Jaguar, I think.
Jaguar. And I'm like, you're correct.
Jaguar.
I do like those.
For those of you who want to get a hand job from a beautiful stranger, is pretty much what it said. But then they had Volvo. It's like boxy, but it's good, And it's
boxy, but it's still good.
Yeah.
And it's like, correct. That's all I can think of when I think of Volvos. The fact that I don't see any of these ads as like memes and stuff is weird because there's some fucking hilarious ads.
Did you write any more down? Because I'm trying to find some.
Dude, I just have the fact that the main doctor at the sanitarium.
The girl? The lady?
No, her boss.
Oh, okay,
her boss. His name is Horace Cock.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I'm gonna put that in and make sure Austin.
I did not catch that.
That guy's name is Horace Cock. Okay?
That's so dumb. So
But no, at the end, there's like the Sony ad. That was the thing. I'm like, there's only one ad for a company that isn't a real company.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did they get fucking permission from these companies?
Yeah.
To do things that are real close to offensive?
Yeah, absolutely. So I probably didn't laugh as much as you, but I laughed at not all the ads, but a lot of the ads.
The weird thing was, it got to a point where I'm like, I saw the Daryl Hannah shit happen, and I'm like, I don't care. I'm just waiting for the next ad. But that's all I was doing in this movie. I was waiting because I knew there were going to be more.
My major problem.
I wasn't wrong.
My major problem with the movie, though, is that Dudley Moore is not funny in this movie.
No, she's not funny.
No, he is. But Dudley Moore is not funny.
Dudley Moore.
He is not.
Yeah, I don't think. Also, neither of them are funny, and I think they think they're funny.
Well,
some of the other guys are kind of funny.
I didn't think they were funny either.
I don't know. Hello, guy. I don't know.
David Paymer just hello.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I kind of wanted to like.
I didn't like. any of the crazy people, and I almost found it borderline offensive that it was really making fun of mental health.
It was. I knew all
that
this
really bothered
while I was
me.
watching. I think this is all just because of Space Invaders. I'm like, all movies are fucking perfect now. Okay,
when they didn't,
so actually the opposite happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't like movies anymore, and then I watched every movie, and I'm like, God, this movie's fucking good. This movie's so fucking good compared to that fucking disgusting.
I thought it was so boring. By the last half hour, I'm like, God, is it still going on? And I'm like, and then they have the
right, though. It does have that. This movie felt long. Hunt for October is like 2 hours 20 minutes. I'm like, the fucking movie's over.
Oh,
holy
it goes
shit!
Fast,
because Mountains of the Moon is about the same length, and that
forever.
feels like the rest of your fucking life.
Felt forever.
And I didn't hate it as much as you. Okay,
I hated it.
But Hunt for October, I was astonished when that movie was over.
But yeah,
I'm like, holy shit, this movie's over.
I was so bored during most of it, and mainly it's just because the comedy with the inmates for me did not work. Dudley Moore's a funny dude. He is not funny in this movie. He's not really given material to be funny. And he looks tired. He doesn't look like he wants to be in this movie.
He looks tired.
He doesn't look like he wants to be there. Daryl Hannah does what she can with the thankless role. I don't think she's awful.
Here's the thing. Like I said, I have to agree with everything you say. I'm not going to give it 3 stars.
It's 1 for me.
I'm going 2.5.
Okay. It's a 1 star.
It's not the best movie.
I laughed at
just that
like 4 of the ads.
I'm like,
I laughed at like 4 of them.
My
4 of the ads I laughed at.
When I saw that hand job thing, I literally missed the next 5 minutes of the movie.
I laughed at that part.
I was just fucking laughing. Okay?
Oh, the other one that was kind of funny was the Freak the movie. It will fuck you up.
That was one of the fake ones.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a real movie.
No, it's not.
Although the poster of that movie looks like, I'd watch that fucking movie.
It will fuck you up for life.
There's like a creepy kid in that poster, and I'm like, fuck, that movie looks terrifying.
It will fuck you up for life.
One of the other funny ones. There's a movie, there's an ad for like a weight loss place, and he just says, just admit that you're fat, and we'll give you a free plant. And all these fat people are calling up, I'm fat, and other fat people, ask about the free plant, and the people at the weight loss clinic are like, what plant are you talking about? There's no plant.
Wow, you really like that.
That's the thing.
No.
I have to give this not that bad a mark because some of those stuff was so fucking funny.
The premise of this film is good, but you need to put funny characters along with this funny premise, and for me, they didn't, and that's why that's why it's not good for me.
It does feel like somebody found really cool, funny fake ads, and like
trying to make a movie around.
We'll make a movie around this,
and
the rest of the movie's gonna suck. But periodically, we're gonna have a bunch of fat people wanting a free plant, and you're gonna fucking laugh. And I'm like, you're not wrong. And then at the end of it, Sony's gonna make an ad about why their shit is good because Caucasians are just too fucking tall.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, the Sony
because our eyes are closer to the electronics because we're shorter.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is the closest to fully offensive in an ad in this movie. Okay,
so this was part of our triple feature. This weird triple feature.
This is a really weird triple feature.
Hunt for October,
this
Crazy
movie
People
is surrounded by 2 very serious movies.
Yes. So the next movie, Internal Affairs. This is directed by Mike Figgis. This is his second film. He went on to direct Leaving Las Vegas, the Nicolas Cage movie. Yeah.
Okay.
And he did some of the music in the film as well, which why it kind of has a jazzy kind of guitar Latin-based score because he's kind of a jazz artist, Mike Figgis is, so it makes sense. But anyway, so this is a cop thriller. I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I saw the trailer back in the day, so I knew that Richard Gere was a bad cop.
All I knew was the name of the movie is Internal Affairs, and I'm like, okay, so this is a movie where cops are trying to catch other cops. That's what Internal Affairs is.
Yeah.
That has to be what this movie is. Oh, I was correct. Yeah. Amazing.
It is. It is. So yeah, Andy Garcia plays... I don't even know their characters' names. Let's check it out.
Here's
Andy Garcia, Raymond.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Their names are Andy Garcia, Richard Gere.
Richard Gere, Peck. I remember that.
And Laurie Metcalf.
Yeah.
Those are their fucking names.
Right.
Okay.
So Richard. Yeah.
I don't know their. Well, Andy. Peck, I do remember Peck's name.
Yeah. Right. Well, Andy Garcia he's just starting Internal Affairs, and like right away he's investigating something with his former friend of his or a friend of his that's on the force, played by another Baldwin, William Baldwin.
Billy Baldwin's actually. Really fucking good in this movie.
You think so?
I thought he was
okay
because he was believable as a person.
He's
you
such
would never want to be a friend with.
He has such a dumb face.
I know, but that's what he's supposed to be. The first time you see him, the first time you see him, he's like beating his wife. And then Richard Gere shows up and like pulls him off, and he's just looking at that wife. Jesus Christ! Oh yeah, does he actually want to murder her?
Actually,
like, why does Baldwin hate her so much? What's going on? What did she do?
I do want to talk about that scene, but first I'll get into the plot. So, you find out that Peck is this cop, and it's played by Richard Gere, and he is kind of in charge of like all the cops. He's friends with everybody, and he's kind of wheels and deals. He has snitches that are prostitutes. Yeah. He's
never taken another promotion past this because then he wouldn't be on the streets anymore.
Right, but
and
he
loves the fucking streets.
And he's in complete control. And if in the beginning of the movie, his partner, guy played by Michael Beach, the black cop, he shoots someone that's running.
Just running.
He shouldn't have shot him.
Oh,
obviously,
that was like the first thing you see in the movie.
Right,
and it's like he shoots a guy who literally just ran, and I'm like,
and Richard Gere's like, you know what? We'll put a knife on him, and don't worry about it.
At that point, I'm like, this movie's called Internal Affairs. Is this movie entirely about trying to catch him for having shot a runner? We're never going to talk about that ever again.
Yeah.
We're never going to mention that
more about Richard Gere, who's covering up all the things.
About showing that Richard Gere is human garbage.
Exactly. And then they also have Andy Garcia, and they introduce his wife, played by Nancy Travis, and so they have, because he gets so involved into working on this case that, it strains the marriage and stuff, and Richard Gere knows this, and he uses it against him.
Yeah, although that was
You didn't like that part.
The Garcia's marriage shit in this was like, I don't know, we don't need that shit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? We don't need. I mean, it's just the fact that Gere is too magically good at this evil thing.
Yeah.
Got like, okay.
Well, then
I know he's gonna get caught in the end, so he isn't that magic.
Well, then you have Andy Garcia's partner, though, is played by Laurie Metcalf, who's really good in this movie. God,
I've always thought she was good.
Character's great.
She's fucking amazing in this.
She's really good in this movie.
I wish she was just in more movies.
Yeah, she was really good, and she's known for the sister on Roseanne, right?
Yeah, she's typecast as looking angry all the time because she does have resting bitch face.
Yeah. But in this one, she plays the partner, and they have a really good relationship in it, and they make her, and she's a lesbian too, except they never say lesbian. It's dyke. They have to say dyke.
And you mostly only know that
it's
because
1990.
She eyes up some hottie who's walking past, and at that scene, I'm like, why are they keen?
No, I knew that. I knew it. I'm like.
Chick? And then they show her staring at him like oh, okay. Now I understand.
Yep.
Because they don't want to like say it, although they're saying it.
They say it later.
Garcia looks at her, and he goes, okay.
Right. I actually like that.
It was okay. It was fine.
So it all leads up to it gets crazier and crazier, and Gere Peck digs himself into bigger holes and bigger holes that he just can't get out of.
Yeah.
And it leads into a confrontation with him, pretty much. With Andy Garcia at the end. I like this movie actually. So I don't know if you did. Did you like it?
I liked it.
Oh,
We're both gonna like this movie.
Woo,
it isn't perfect.
It's not.
Is like it actually. No. At one point, we're like an hour and 20 minutes into it, and then there's an action scene, and I'm like, why is there a fucking action scene in this movie? And then the action scene isn't very good, and I'm like, double why is this action scene in this movie?
It was fine.
I mean, it was like gunning and shooting, then Garcia, there's like the SWAT team shows up, and he's like,
I actually like that.
His badge
and they started
out,
shooting at him.
Cop, and I'm like, why'd the SWAT team just shoot at him? Am I missing something?
Yeah.
No, they never really talk about the fact that they almost killed him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I think you could have
taken.
You could have taken certain parts of this action scene.
So Andy Garcia, I think, is really good in the movie. I like Andy Garcia.
Oh yeah, I think Andy Garcia is really, really good.
So
but Richard Gere is fucking amazing in this.
I don't know how you feel about him, but I wouldn't consider myself a Richard Gere fan.
You would?
No, I wouldn't.
No.
Normally, I'm like, I'm not the biggest fan of him. I see him in a movie, I'm like, at the most, I'll be like, he was all right.
I didn't think, when I saw him in the credits, I'm like, oh, Richard Gere, oh yeah, okay. And then he starts.
I don't hate Richard Gere. I'm just not a big fan.
I saw him like in the uniform, and I'm like, fits that uniform pretty good.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh shit. And then he covers up that shooting, and I'm like, I think Richard Gere's really fucking good in this movie.
The scene that got me right away was when he goes to Billy Baldwin's house. And he brings him outside, and he starts smacking him.
Oh,
that was fucking
awesome. He
smacked him like 15 times in a row.
For like real.
Yeah.
There's no fucking movie magic.
Oh, he's
just smacking Billy Baldwin in the fucking face
Richard
over
Gere
and over.
Really
and Baldwin, and I think after a little while, Baldwin knew this was going to happen. He's like, I don't think he knew it was going to happen that much. Right. And I'm like, I think Baldwin's getting mad right now.
And I don't know if you caught this. But in that scene when Billy Baldwin is beating up on his wife, the little kid, that's Elijah Wood.
What?
Yeah.
And he comes in and goes, stop hitting her.
Yeah,
that was Elijah Wood. No.
I want to say we're gonna look at it.
He looked like he was 8, and Elijah Wood was in his mid-20s when he did those, right? And that was only 10 years later.
I think he was 10. 8 or 10. Hold on, I'm gonna get it right now because his first movie is Back to the Future 2.
Oh yeah, I guess it wouldn't be in there.
It's not in there, so we're gonna go to the IMDb.
One scene of nothingness.
Here we go. We're gonna look. I'm pretty sure it was Elijah Wood, so we're gonna go. We're going.
Hey, entertaining podcasting.
Elijah Wood. That was him.
Sean.
So it's him. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So Elijah Wood, he played the kid.
God, I think maybe
in
he's
the movie.
just tiny. Yeah. He just looks young because he looks really fucking young.
So I
legit thought, what's that? That 5-year-old can't do anything.
So
about
he was
this.
born.
This isn't Wikipedia. This is a different page. It doesn't have
81. So yeah. So he was like 8 or 9 in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So that makes
sense.
sense.
I guess I thought he was older in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, he was like 18 or 19.
God, I guess not then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah. So no, that scene was good, and just all the scenes between that I thought between Richard Gere and everybody actually with that scene in the elevator when Andy Garcia or when Richard Gere comes in and he headbutts him,
and then suddenly I'm like, did he go there to just hopefully randomly get him in the only room in the place that only has him, and then he can fight in the elevator, and then he leaves the elevator, and somehow the elevator never left the ground floor. I'm like, that's not how elevators work.
Yeah, okay. the ending does the last third gets a little Hollywood a little bit because the first 2/3 of the movie, Richard Gere isn't playing him like a movie villain. He's playing him like pretty realistic. He's like you would see a crooked cop in real life.
Yeah.
But at the end, he kind of gets a little hammy towards the end. He's doing a great job at it.
Yeah.
But it does get a little formulaic.
It gets to the point when he, convinces Garcia that he had just fucked his wife.
Oh, yeah.
And he does have his wife's underwear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they don't explain how he ever got that.
Oh, I'm sure he just went. I just assumed he just went into the house and got it.
I guess that must be it.
Yeah.
Because Garcia then goes to confront her.
Oh, and he smacks her.
But he's also trying to reach up her skirt to see whether she's wearing underwear.
Yeah.
And I'm like, did he find out?
Well, what's interesting about that too is I like that because he's turning while I'm watching this, I was invested into this movie at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't hit her, don't hit her, don't hit her, don't hit her. And he did. I'm like, God damn it. But
he
then
hit
I'm
her,
like,
and then they have that bullshit make out sex scene later, and I'm like, they don't need this fucking shit.
They didn't need that scene, but
you can have him be a broken and confront her and shit like that. But the moment he hit her, I'm like, fuck that piece of shit. I hope he goes to prison.
But you know what though?
Okay?
But on the other hand though, Richard Gere's turning him into what he hates the most.
Yes.
And that's why. So I don't mind that. I don't mind that.
Yes,
I buy that.
But that
I buy
the thing was just he was too magically good at it.
Somehow,
not only did he somehow make it so that he could have a meeting with his wife, he knew he was following him at the time, and so that he could then bring the panties to him, like that. And I'm like, because if he hadn't seen them together, and he showed up and said, "I fucked your wife in the ass. Here's some random panties that I probably bought at Kmart," and I'm like, okay, well, you really got me now, buddy. You've really convinced me with random store-bought panties, but only because he had just seen them. Does that work at all?
What I like it though, and even too, when he gets hit or when he's getting in a fight with Richard Gere, early on in the movie, midway through the movie, he doesn't get mad. He's just laughing. Richard Gere's like fuck you. I think that was I just love his reactions to that.
Well, there's some weird stuff near the end.
Yeah,
he Gere's current wife, because he had a lot of ex-wives. Okay, he has 9 kids.
Yeah, 8. It was 8 kids.
That's part of the reason why Internal Affairs is going after him. They're like,
and he's fucking everybody in the movie. Anyways,
how does he have all this money and a sports car and literally 8 kids worth of back alimony?
Because I'm sure he's taking money.
That's why they're like, okay, we can just fucking put him away.
Because
he's obviously crooked as fuck.
Oh, super.
And not only that, he's the most crooked person in the world.
Yeah.
Although the opening scene of this, the second scene actually, where Garcia's showing up for his job on the first day, and the guy is talking about how the cops love us because they know we're here.
Laurie Metcalf was like, no, they don't.
I've seen cop movies. They do not like it.
Well, Laurie Metcalf cuts that right away.
But my favorite thing was they're like, because this is 1990.
Yeah.
They're like, and LA has the cleanest cops in the country. And I'm like, oh boy, that line does not fucking hold up. Okay? In the 90s, we find out just how shitty LA cops are. They are all terrible.
So, interesting thing about this movie. So after I watched the movie, we came back, I went back and I watched the trailer.
Okay.
There's a lot of shit in that trailer that's not in the movie.
Really?
Including there's a scene where you see Richard Gere behind Nancy Travis, Andy Garcia's wife, holding her with a gun to her head, And then there's another.
He does grab her, but
and it's in a different building. And then there's another scene
where
they show Andy Garcia and Richard Gere run at each other, and then they fly out of a window, and I'm like, what? So I did some research. If
that was in the movie, I would have said, this movie sucks now.
No, I did some research. And they changed the ending. They had a whole different ending. And after the trailer was made, they tested it, and it didn't test well.
Yeah, this movie, and I think part of it is when they did have this action shootout scene, and I'm like, this movie's supposed to be realistic. Yeah. It's supposed to be realistic, and I guarantee shit like that nobody lives through that shit. Okay?
But you know what I find? So it's more of a quiet ending just between them at the end, in the bedroom.
Yeah,
and it's really it's effective.
It's still
good.
A little weird.
It is
because right before that,
yeah,
Richard Gere character Peck
yeah.
has gone to his accountant or something, and at one point they had hired him to kill somebody.
Oh yeah,
and then he was hitting on her. And then he goes back there after he's found out, after he knows at this point, because he heard his wife talking about it.
Oh yeah,
and she's gonna turn him in because she knows.
And then
they just cut to this thing
and then
where he's fucking her. By the way, this is
when they shoot.
There was
Laurie,
another movie in the theater where Richard Gere has sex with a prostitute. Okay.
There's Laurie Metcalf though because she gets shot at the end of the movie.
Yes. That annoyed me. Except for, I like the scene in the ambulance.
In the scene in the ambulance when Andy Garcia is talking to her, that is so good. I love their relationship, and it's so good. If you get
your deathbed statement, we're going to fucking put him away.
It's so good.
Because he actually had a previous deathbed statement, but it wasn't a fucking cop admission.
No.
It was a random loser.
And then it was the ambulance guys. You heard that, right? You heard it, right? Yeah.
But I thought that was cool. Actually, during that scene, though, it was only showing him and her in the ambulance, and you could hear the other people, and I'm like, is there a reason not showing the other people? Would we recognize those people as PEX guys or something?
Yeah, I don't know.
But it didn't happen.
No.
It didn't happen.
So,
I'm good. I'm glad that didn't happen.
So they did change the ending to make it less action and showy. This is what's weird for me, though. It didn't test well. In 1990 back then, audiences wanted cliched shit. So I'm surprised
but I don't think this movie it makes sense.
Right, but I'm still surprised that it tested like that and then they changed it because usually it'd be the other way around. Back then, anyways, where it was we need something more showy. So I commend the movie for changing the ending.
I commend that they tried, but then they realized they had made a mistake. And they said, okay, we're just going to make this basically a character thing at the end.
Yeah.
And Peck knows he's caught.
Yeah.
And he gets shot. He gets shot in the foot.
Yeah.
Right before he murders the accountants. Okay?
Yep.
And that was actually funny because he's trying to convince her to shoot him, for him to shoot her because he's saying he's going to kill. I'm going to kill you. And
that was my foot.
But then I'm and then Peck's shoot her. And I'm like, he was talking to her? Why was he talking to her?
Yeah.
I'm talking to him. She's obviously being raped by a fucking psycho. Okay? What the fuck are you talking about?
But no, flaws aside, I think it's a solid cop movie, and Richard Gere and Andy Garcia deliver really good performances.
Yes.
So it's a 3 for me. I like it.
I'm going to give it a 3 also.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be perfect. It's close
to
perfect.
It's not perfect.
It's close.
It's good.
There's a few things that I wish weren't there, but 3 stars. I highly recommend watching this movie.
I definitely think
the good parts are really fucking
if you haven't seen this movie and you like cop movies and you're kind of iffy on Richard Gere, give this a shot because Richard Gere's pretty fucking good in this movie.
Richard Gere is really good in this
really
movie.
Good, yeah.
And
he
was in the same fucking multiplex theaters
as
with
Pretty
another
Woman.
Fucking movie with Pretty Woman, which was a much bigger hit and much more culturally relevant.
Right.
But he's
better in this movie than in that movie.
He's just a person with an acting role.
He's not bad in that movie, but but
he's legitimately oh wow, I think Richard Gere should play a bad guy more often.
Now,
he's real fucking believable.
If we would have watched Q&A on the same podcast, you probably I don't know if we'd like this as much. Q&A is fucking awesome. But it's
only because I had watched Space Invaders. All movies are amazing now, Austin. It's opposite has happened. Everything is just compared to Space Invaders, and it's all fucking amazing. Okay?
So that's our podcast. We did 7 movies. The best movie for me is House Party because I love House Party, and
I would have to say
Hunt for October,
it's probably Red October.
That's probably the second one for me.
Yeah.
And honestly, you're gonna. So I already know your least favorite. My least favorite's Mountains of the Moon. Actually,
really, my least favorite is obviously
Space Invaders.
Is garbage. It's painful garbage.
I don't think it's that bad.
No. Well, that's because Austin.
Yeah.
Austin!
Tim.
You're wrong. Okay.
Best performance by a lead actor, I'm probably going to give it to Gere.
I'm going to give it to Gere. I was also weirdly going to give it to Gere. Although Garcia's really good, though.
Oh, yeah. I'll give it to Gere.
Gere's just like, oh, well, never mind. Gere's on screen.
I'll give it to Gere.
Metcalf might be my
supporting actress for sure. Yeah, I'll give
She's supporting? I
just say she's supporting.
But yeah, she isn't in super
I would say, I don't think there's a lead actress in this. In
any of these things?
Well, Daryl Hannah, but I'm not going to,
No, yeah, I can't give it to her. I mean, weirdly, What's-Her-Face in Mountains of the Moon is also she's good in it.
Yeah, no.
But she isn't.
I would give it to Laurie Metcalf. And then supporting actor,
supporting actor is the dad on House Party.
I was just going to say Robin Harris. Yeah,
he's so good. Hilarious.
Robin Harris. But no, it was a fun episode. I gave 3 1s. I don't even know.
I give 1-0, but I give that in like half of our episodes.
Yeah, that's true. But I got 3 1s this time. But yeah,
it's the first 0 of the season.
Oh yeah, this season. Yes,
yes,
correct.
Of the season.
I still have yet to get a 0. So.
And after this,
I don't want a 0.
I may not give any more zeros. All movies are fucking awesome now, Austin. All movies are just so much better than that.
I did you a favor.
No.
Yes.
It doesn't matter that I like all the movies now more. It's in my head. And periodically, I'll be lying in bed and I'm like, oh yeah, Space Invaders. I have to hug my cat. Where's my cat? I want to hug you, kitty. Oh, Space Invaders killed me.
Now I know what poster to get you for Christmas. That's it.
A bonfire. Space Invaders poster.
All right, so that's it for this podcast. I think. Let me look what we're doing next week. I think it's Pearl Harbor.
It's Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
We're going to go to December 7th.
We are going to December 7th.
We're going to December 7th, 1941.
And we're going to see.
Boy, I hope that doesn't backfire in some way.
I hope not.
I hope we don't get
killed.
I hope we don't get killed. Are we going to Honolulu?
No.
Let's go watch movies in Honolulu.
No.
Amazing. What a good idea. What a great idea.
No.
We already screwed up and didn't go to Dallas last week, Austin.
That's right.
We should just go to Honolulu.
No, December.
And then when we eventually go to Nagasaki, we'll just go watch movies in Nagasaki on that day. What a great day to go see movies.
So the next podcast will be December 7th, 1941. So we'll see what movies are out. But that's it for this week. Thanks for listening. Make sure you check us out on Instagram, and we're on wherever you can find podcasts. Also, if you want to ask us any questions or anything, filmgeektimemachine@gmail.com. You can check us out. So.
Don't watch Space Invaders. Ever. Please, I'm saving your life. All you listeners, I'm saving you. Don't watch Space Invaders.
Okay.
Unless you want to like all future movies more. Okay.
They might.
But you have to lose an hour and a half though.
Yeah, hour 40.
It's an hour 40
That's
that
long.
You literally is a hole in your life. It's like a pit that exists in your past now.
All right, so that's it for this week. Until next time, I'm Austin Kennedy.
I'm Tim Kaiser.
And we'll see you next time.
I like how it's different every time, but still good.
Yeah. All right, goodbye.